The twin suns of Arvath Prime hung low in the sky, casting long golden shadows across the palace walls. Princess Zara paced the grand halls, her long hair brushing against her shoulders, her expression tense. Today was the day of the council meeting, the day she would once again speak out against the traditions she had spent her entire life questioning. Zara had always been different. From the moment she could speak, she asked questions that made elders uncomfortable. "Why must we conquer planets for pride?" she asked. "Why must we punish those who think differently?" Her teachers, advisors, and even some family members had tried to teach her obedience. But Zara could not stay silent when injustice was before her. Now, as she walked into the council chamber, she saw the familiar faces of her father's advisors, stern, cold, and impatient. The chamber smelled of polished metal and faint oils from the air conditioners, but Zara barely noticed. Her mind was focused on one thing: speaking the truth, even if it angered those in power. "Princess Zara," began High Commander Valthor, his voice sharp and cutting, "you know the council does not tolerate insubordination." Zara squared her shoulders. "And I know the council often chooses fear over wisdom. We are planning to attack the neighboring planet of Lyrith without cause. Millions of innocent lives will suffer for pride and tradition." "This is wrong." A murmur ran through the chamber. Some advisors whispered, others scowled. Her words had never been so bold. "You dare challenge the council in this manner?" Valthor's eyes glowed faintly with anger. "You are the princess of Arvath Prime. You must obey, not argue." "I obey what is right, not what is convenient," Zara replied, her voice firm. "And this council is blind to what is just." For a moment the chamber was silent. Then with a sharp gesture, Valthor summoned the royal guards. "This princess is a traitor. She will be taken into custody immediately." Zara's heart raced, but she did not panic. She had prepared for this. She had studied the palace routes, the secret passages, and the lands beyond the city. With a quick motion, she darted toward the side door, disappearing into the corridors while guards shouted and pursued. Outside the palace grounds were a blur of lights and shadows. Zara ran past the fountains, past the golden statues, and into the dense forest that surrounded the city. Her mind worked quickly, thinking of where she could hide and how she could survive. She knew the council would not stop. They considered her existence a threat to their rule. The forest was alive with sounds. Strange creatures rustled in the underbrush, and the trees seemed to bend and sway as if observing her. Zara's agility allowed her to move quickly, but soon exhaustion began to set in. Her side ached from a fall she had taken earlier, and her breaths came short and fast. The golden light of the twin suns faded, replaced by the soft, eerie glow of Arvath's moon. Hours passed, and Zara realized she could not keep running forever. She needed shelter, and she needed someone to help her recover. But who could she trust? Everyone in the council had turned against her, and even some family members believed she was foolish. As she stumbled into a clearing, she collapsed near a small stream, the cold water running over her fingers. Pain throbbed through her body, and her vision blurred. The forest seemed endless, and the night noises were foreign and frightening. She felt truly alone for the first time in her life. Then through the trees a figure appeared. Zara squinted, unsure if it was real. The figure moved cautiously, not threateningly, holding something that glowed softly, a lantern of some kind. "Hey," said a calm voice, deep and clear. "Are you okay?" Zara looked up and saw a human male, wearing a uniform she did not recognize. His presence was unlike anyone she had ever met. He did not glare, he did not judge, and he did not command. He simply watched her, concern in his eyes. I'm fine," Zara whispered, though her voice trembled. The human knelt beside her. "You're not fine. You're hurt and you need help. I can take care of you." Zara hesitated. She had been abandoned by her people. How could she trust someone she barely knew? Yet something about his calm confidence made her heart settle a little. Perhaps for the first time she was seeing a kind of courage and honesty she had never experienced. Slowly she nodded. The human extended his hand and with a careful grip helped her to her feet. He introduced himself as Jack, a soldier on a mission to monitor interstellar conflicts. His words were simple, but there was an authority behind them that made Zara feel safe. Jack led her through the forest using paths Zara had not noticed. He seemed to understand the terrain intuitively, moving with skill and precision. Zara, though exhausted, tried to keep up. Along the way, she noticed he did not ask questions about her identity or her status. He only focused on keeping her safe. After several hours, they reached a small hidden outpost built into the side of a hill. The place was modest but secure. Jack guided her inside and offered her water and food. Zara drank cautiously, still unsure if she could fully trust him. "You've been running from soldiers," Jack observed. "Why?" Zara hesitated. Should she tell him everything? The betrayal by the council, the danger she faced, her life as a princess? Finally, she spoke. "I am Princess Zara. I was branded a traitor by my council because I questioned their orders. They want me captured. Or worse." Jack nodded, listening without judgment. "Then we'll keep you safe. I won't let anyone harm you while you're here." For the first time in hours, Zara felt a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, she had found someone who cared more about justice and life than power and tradition. As night fell, Zara lay on a cot in the outpost, Jack keeping watch. She watched the human soldier quietly move around, checking their surroundings and ensuring no danger approached. His dedication was unlike anything she had seen among her own people. It was not fear driving him. It was loyalty and courage. In the quiet moments before sleep, Zara thought about the world she had known, and the one she was entering. She had always believed humans were weak, outsiders who could never understand the complexities of alien societies. But Jack was different. He had shown strength, bravery, and compassion, the traits her people claimed to value but often lacked. As she drifted off, she realized that perhaps her journey of rebellion had only just begun. She had escaped her enemies, but the larger challenge was ahead. Surviving in a universe where trust was rare, danger was constant, and allies were few. And yet for the first time she did not feel entirely alone. Somewhere outside the outpost the sounds of the forest continued, mysterious and alive. Zara did not know what the next day would bring, but with Jack by her side she felt a sense of hope. The princess who had been abandoned might yet find a new path, one not defined by fear, tradition, or betrayal, but by courage, friendship, and the unexpected heroism of a human being who saw her not as a princess or a threat, but as a life worth saving. And as the twin moons of Arvath Prime rose high above the horizon, Zara allowed herself one small, quiet smile. Perhaps being abandoned was not the end. Perhaps it was the beginning of something greater, something she could not yet imagine. The morning light filtered through the trees, casting soft, silver streaks across the hidden outpost. Princess Zara stretched, feeling the stiffness in her muscles. The past night had been quiet, but her mind raced with questions. Could she trust this human Jack who had saved her life? Could she even survive in a universe where her own people had turned against her? Jack moved silently around the outpost, checking supplies and scanning the forest. He noticed Zara stirring and offered her a small nod. "Good morning. How are you feeling?" "I'm better," Zara replied, her voice soft. "Thanks to you." Jack smiled faintly. "You're strong. That's why you survived this far. But being strong doesn't mean you have to face everything alone." Zara considered his words. She had spent her life relying on herself, believing that asking for help was weakness. But now she realized that strength could come in many forms: courage, wisdom, and sometimes simply having someone watch your back. Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden noise outside the outpost. Zara's ears twitched as she heard the faint rustle of footsteps. Jack immediately moved toward the entrance, gesturing for her to stay back. "Soldiers," he whispered. "They're looking for you. We need to move." Zara's heart raced. The council's soldiers had tracked her this far, relentless in their pursuit. She followed Jack, who led her through a narrow passage behind the outpost. The forest seemed denser here, the shadows longer and the sounds louder. Strange creatures peeked from the underbrush, their glowing eyes curious but cautious. Jack's movements were precise, almost instinctive. He avoided broken branches and loose rocks, keeping their passage silent. Zara struggled to keep up, her legs sore, but she did not falter. Each step reminded her that she was alive because of him. After a long trek, they reached a rocky canyon. Jack paused, scanning the horizon. "We'll rest here for a moment. The canyon walls will give us some cover, but we can't stay long." Zara nodded, breathing heavily. She looked around, noticing how different this human was from the soldiers and nobles she had known. He was not bound by fear or pride. He acted with purpose, using logic and courage to face danger head-on. Suddenly, a group of armored figures appeared at the edge of the canyon. Zara froze. Soldiers from her planet, fully equipped, were advancing toward them. Jack's eyes narrowed. Stay close to me, he said firmly. Without hesitation, Jack grabbed a small device from his belt. It emitted a bright pulse of light and a low, vibrating hum. The soldiers paused, confused and disoriented. Taking advantage of their hesitation, Jack grabbed Zara's hand and led her deeper into the canyon. Zara's heart pounded. She had seen skilled warriors before, but nothing like Jack. He moved with confidence, never panicking, always thinking 2 steps ahead. She realized that humans, though smaller and physically weaker than her own kind, had something else. Ingenuity and courage that could match any alien strength. After what felt like hours, they reached a hidden cave. The entrance was narrow, almost invisible from the canyon. Jack led Zara inside, lighting a small lamp. The cave was cool and quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. "You're safe here. For now," Jack said, setting down their supplies. "But we can't stay long. They will keep looking for you." Zara sat on a rock, her mind racing. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. "You don't even know me," Jack shrugged. "Because it's the right thing to do. Because no one deserves to be hunted just for standing up for what's right. You could be anyone from anywhere, but I don't care. I see a life worth saving, and that's enough for me." Zara stared at him, surprised. She had never heard such words from anyone in her life. In her world, power and fear decided everything. Loyalty was conditional, often bought or forced. But here was a human, offering help freely without expectation. Over the next few days, Jack and Zara navigated the harsh terrain together. They crossed frozen plains where the wind bit like knives and dense jungles where unseen creatures scuttled and screeched. Each day brought new challenges, treacherous cliffs, sudden storms, and patrols from her own people. Through it all, Jack proved again and again why she had survived. When Zara slipped on icy rocks, he caught her just in time. When wild predators approached, he used clever traps and distractions to keep them at bay. Zara began to see that human courage was not just physical. It was mental, creative, and relentless. One night, while they rested beneath a canopy of alien trees, Zara spoke quietly. "I've always thought humans were weak, that you could never face the challenges we face on our worlds." Jack smiled softly. "Strength isn't always about size or power. Sometimes it's about choice, choosing to act when others run, choosing to protect when others ignore, choosing to hope when others give up." Zara looked at him, the words sinking in. She realized that humans, though different, had a kind of bravery that her people often lacked, and she, who had been abandoned and betrayed, was beginning to understand that courage could come from unexpected places. Their journey continued, each day testing them in new ways. In one encounter, they stumbled upon a ravine where a group of alien mercenaries had set a trap. Jack assessed the situation quickly. Using a combination of skill and improvisation, he devised a way to distract the mercenaries and create a path for Zara to escape. His quick thinking saved them both, and Zara could not help but admire him. "You're incredible," she admitted later as they rested beside a small stream. I've never seen anyone act like you before." Jack shrugged, wading into the water to check its safety. "I just do what I have to. You'd do the same if the roles were reversed." Zara considered his words. She had often acted out of pride or defiance, but Jack acted out of purpose and loyalty. Perhaps that was the true difference between humans and her own people. Humans acted with heart, not just tradition or fear. As the days passed, their bond grew. Zara began to rely on Jack not just for survival, but for guidance. She trusted him with her fears, her hopes, and her plans. In return, Jack respected her courage and independence, never treating her as weak or fragile. One evening, as the twin moons rose above the horizon, Zara looked at Jack thoughtfully. "I wonder, if my people knew about you, they would call you a fool. But I think they would be wrong." Jack chuckled softly. "Maybe, but I don't care what they think. Right now, we just focus on getting you safe." Zara nodded, a quiet smile on her face. For the first time since being branded a traitor, she felt hope. Perhaps being abandoned by her own kind was not the end. Perhaps this human, who had risked everything to save her, was showing her a new path. A path where courage, loyalty, and friendship mattered more than fear and tradition, and yet danger was never far away. The council's soldiers were relentless, and Zara knew that they would not give up. But with Jack by her side, she began to feel that she could face anything. Together they would navigate this harsh universe, and perhaps change it in ways neither of them could yet imagine. As the night deepened, Zara lay on a bed of soft moss listening to the gentle sounds of the forest. Jack kept watch nearby, alert and vigilant, and for the first time she allowed herself to truly rest, knowing that at least for now she was not alone. Somewhere beyond the trees the hunt continued, but Zara no longer felt powerless. She had found a human who saw her as more than a princess, more than a rebel, more than a target. He saw her as a life worth saving, and for Zara that was enough to keep hope alive. The hidden cave had become a temporary sanctuary, but Princess Zara knew they could not stay there forever. The council's soldiers were relentless, and the longer she remained in hiding, the stronger their hunt would become. Jack had been right from the start. Survival required courage, planning, and action. "Zara," Jack said one morning, his voice steady, "we can't just run anymore. You need to face this, and I'll help you. Together we can turn the tide." Zara's heart skipped. The thought of confronting the council filled her with fear, but also determination. She had escaped once. She had survived countless dangers. And now, with Jack by her side, she had a chance to challenge the corruption that had abandoned her. Their first step was to reach the rebel factions quietly forming on the outskirts of the capital. Many citizens had grown dissatisfied with the council's harsh rule, but fear had kept them silent. Zara's survival and the story of a human saving a princess sparked hope among these people. Word spread quickly, and soon small groups began gathering, ready to support her cause. Jack and Zara moved cautiously, navigating dangerous terrain and avoiding patrols. Each day they taught the rebels what they had learned in the wild: survival, strategy, and courage. Jack's human ingenuity combined with Zara's knowledge of her planet proved to be a powerful combination. One evening they reached a hill overlooking the capital. Zara's eyes narrowed as she saw the council's palace in the distance, shining with artificial lights. Soldiers moved in formation, their discipline strict, their loyalty unquestioned. But Zara no longer felt the fear she had once carried. She had allies now, and more importantly, she had Jack, whose courage had shown her a new way to fight. "We can't just storm the palace," Jack said quietly. "We need a plan. We need to show the people the truth." Zara nodded. "We expose the council. We show everyone how they betrayed the citizens, and we do it in a way they cannot ignore." Over the next few days they worked tirelessly. Zara's knowledge of palace systems and secret codes allowed them to bypass security channels. Jack coordinated with rebel groups to create distractions, alarms, and diversions. Every detail mattered. Every risk had to be calculated. Finally, the night came. The plan was simple but daring. Zara would enter the palace through a hidden passage, reach the council chamber, and broadcast the council's corruption to the entire city. Jack would lead the rebels to secure strategic points and prevent soldiers from interfering. The journey to the palace was tense. Zara felt her heart pound with every step, but Jack's steady presence beside her gave her courage. "You can do this," he whispered. "I'll handle the rest." When they reached the hidden entrance, Zara slipped inside silently. The palace was quiet, the hallways empty, but she could feel the weight of every eye on her, real or imagined. Reaching the council chamber, she activated the broadcast system, projecting the council's secrets across the city, plans of oppression, false accusations, and misuse of power. Outside, the citizens watched in shock. Murmurs turned into shouts. Soldiers who had blindly followed orders began questioning their loyalty. Rebel factions joined the chaos, blocking key points and helping citizens gather. The city was alive with energy, fueled by the truth that Zara had unveiled. Suddenly, the chamber doors opened. The High Commander Valthor and several council members entered, their eyes blazing with anger. "Princess Zara," Valthor shouted, "you dare defy the council in this way?" "I dare to be just," Zara replied calmly. "I dare to show my people the truth. You abandoned what is right, and now your corruption will be seen by all." Valthor raised his hand to summon guards, but before he could act, the sounds of rebellion echoed through the palace. Citizens and rebels flooded in, blocking the guards' path. Jack appeared at the entrance, leading a group of rebels and using clever tactics to control the chaos. Zara's eyes met Jack's, and she felt a wave of gratitude and admiration. He had not only saved her life in the forest, but had now helped her reclaim her world. With his courage and her knowledge, they were unstoppable. The council members, realizing their power slipping, tried to flee. But the citizens demanded justice. Valthor's face turned pale as he understood that fear no longer controlled this city. Courage, loyalty, and truth had taken its place. Zara stepped forward, her voice strong and unwavering. From this day forward, our planet will no longer be ruled by fear. We will lead with justice, fairness, and courage, and we will never forget that one life, one human showed me what true bravery is. Jack stepped beside her, his eyes steady. And I will continue to stand with those who fight for what is right, no matter who they are or where they come from. The crowd erupted in cheers. Citizens lifted Zara onto their shoulders, celebrating the princess who had survived against all odds, and the human who had risked everything to save her. It was a victory not just for Zara, but for every person who had been silenced or abandoned. In the days that followed, Zara worked to rebuild her society. She reformed the council, ensuring that decisions were made with fairness and transparency. She welcomed humans and other species as allies, teaching her people that courage and loyalty were universal, not limited to one planet. Through it all, Jack remained by her side, not as a servant, not as a soldier, but as a trusted friend and equal. Together they faced challenges, overcame obstacles, and showed the universe that humanity's bravery could shine even among the stars. One evening, as they stood on a balcony overlooking the city, Zara turned to Jack. "I never thought I would find someone like you," she said softly. "Someone who doesn't see me as a princess but as a person worth saving." Jack smiled, looking at the glowing horizon. "I only did what anyone would do, but you showed me that courage is contagious. You taught me that even one person can make a difference." Zara felt a warmth in her heart. She had been abandoned, betrayed, and hunted. But in the end, she had not only survived, she had grown stronger, found true allies, and inspired change. The universe had shown her that even when everyone else abandons you, hope can come from the most unexpected places. As the twin moons of Arvath Prime rose high above the city, Zara and Jack stood side by side, ready to face whatever the future held. Together, they had proven that courage, loyalty, and the willingness to act for what is right could overcome even the greatest darkness. And in that moment, Princess Zara realized that being rebellious was not a weakness, it was a strength. And with humanity's courage by her side, she knew that no challenge was too great, no enemy too powerful, and no dream too impossible. The stars above shimmered like a promise, a reminder that even in a vast and dangerous universe, hope, bravery, and friendship could light the way.